welcome back to another episode of Marlborough Junior Reporters. Today we're here at the New England Botanic Garden interviewing Steve, talking about the nightlights.
How long does it take to set this all up?
Well, this is a long process because New England Botanic Garden actually designs and installs this whole light show. We're basically thinking and planning the entire year, but we get started around August with some lights installed on the property related to other programs, and then we just layer and layer on that in the lead up to our November 22nd opening.
How much does it cost to do all this, though?
Well, there's a lot of cost associated with the supplies. We have about 500,000 lights that we put out, and some of those break down in the weather and we have to replace them. They can get damaged out in the elements, but we're also building the display every year and increasing the amount of lights and the points of interest throughout. So the costs for supplies are really high. Since we do our work in-house and we have staff and volunteers doing the installation, it's all about sort of coordinating our staff time so that we have enough time to do our gardening work as well as setting up the light show. We take each strand of lights, we make sure it's working properly at the end of the season. We fold it individually. It's not like your lights at home that you might find a big rat's nest of knotted wires in the attic when you're getting ready for the holidays. We have to be really organized because it's a real big show.
So I know for our lights at home, you have to plug them into the wall, but because they're outside, how do the lights work in power?
We use standard outlets, but we have to have outlets in position throughout the garden. So whenever we do improvements to a garden area, like install accessible pathways or install some new watering features for a garden, we also consider the electricity needs for that space. So we have sort of outlets throughout the garden area. These lights have special connections that are weatherproof. So they have little rubber gaskets and it keeps water from getting in there and allows them to be reused year after year, even if we keep them outside for the entire winter.
So I know you said that your grand opening was November 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
How long will the light show be lasting for?
We're running all the way through January 4th, and we are open almost 7 days a week with Christmas Day and New Year's Day off.
New England Botanic Garden has been a thing for, 50 years we've talked about in previous episodes. But how long has the nightlight show been happening?
So New England Botanic Garden is coming up on its 40th anniversary as a garden, but we're a part of the Worcester County Horticultural Society, which was founded in 1842. The nightlights display started in 2018. And it follows a long tradition of winter events and winter shows that usually involved all kinds of holiday things like greenery and festive displays that we would put out in the garden.
What inspired the nightlight show that you guys have?
This year, our theme is Dazzling Gardens. And so we want to really accentuate the gardens themselves. So you'll see a lot of wild colors like the rainbow tunnel here, but we have a lot of the trees and shrubs and features of the garden uplit and accentuated by our lighting choices. And the garden itself is the star of the show.
That's great. Thank you.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. And for some of our viewers at home who are waiting to get their tickets to come here, what are 5 things you need to know before coming to the Botanical Gardens?
When you're coming to Nightlights, we have almost the entire show is outdoors, so you want to dress warm. We have the event running in all kinds of weather conditions, so sometimes it'll be raining or snowing a little bit. We close down if it is unsafe for visitors, but dress warm and be ready for the weather. We need people to sign up for time ticketing. We get a lot of visitors for Nightlights, and we want people to be able to take their time and enjoy the show. So they have to sign up in advance for time tickets. And you should come hungry because there's going to be snacks and s'mores around fire pits. That's a great feature of night lights and a great way to enjoy your time here. You should check out some other sort of Nomi visitors that will be around in November. So if you come earlier in the show, we have 40 gnome friends that are scattered throughout Nightlights, and you can come discover them all as you're coming to see the show. Come to have fun. We've got to add that too. There's a lot of fun activities going on at Nightlights. It's not just about the lights. It's about enjoying the gardens in lots of ways.
Speaking of the gardens, where can you find the night lights in the gardens?
So in the central formal gardens where we have accessible pathways that everyone can enjoy, we have our light displays centered around sort of the center of the property. That includes the South Formal Gardens and the Ramble and Children's Garden. And it also involves all of our conservatories, which have really creative and exciting displays indoors.
And my final question, you said that there was accessible pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And in every single garden, is it all accessible?
Yeah, that's our goal, is to set up our lights for everyone to enjoy. So we have accessible pathways wherever our lights are set up. And we have low sensory events as well, specially scheduled. So there's a lot of opportunities for everybody to enjoy night lights.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emery, and I would like to know who designs all these great lights.
It's actually our talented staff here at New England Botanic Garden. So we get thinking about night lights right as we're ending the previous year's show. And we put a lot of thought into sort of the designs and themes and how we can integrate all these lights into the garden. Since a lot of horticulturists and gardeners are actually designing these displays, they have a good sense of where we can place structures like this rainbow tunnel and how we can work with and around the plants without harming the gardens.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, welcome to the Winter Garden. This is a garden in between our two conservatories, the Orangery and the Limonaya. And the Winter Garden is a garden designed to be enjoyed in all 4 seasons. So there's a lot of plants here with interesting bark and fruit, a lot of things that bloom really early in the spring. There's a nice water feature here. So this is Castor and Pollux. They're named after the Greek and Roman mythological twin brothers, but these two guys are large representations of box turtles.
Each garden has their own name. Is there a specific reason why they have their own names?
We have individual gardens with different design themes, and we might feature different plants in those gardens. They might be related to different garden design history. These different gardens are supposed to sort of evoke a different feeling. You can have a different experience in these individual garden areas. And the Winter Garden is named that because we want people to experience these plants and these lights in the winter. So one feature is actually the long Milton Gallery here. Wow. The Winter Garden is designed to be viewed from inside if it's too cold.
And speaking of the different gardens, which one is your favorite garden?
Oh, I'm not allowed to say. Yeah, it's like having children. You can't pick your favorite. But I really enjoy the Cottage Garden, which is right next to the Rainbow Tunnel. It's a really sweet and intimate space with lots of interesting plants. It's just really beautiful.
So how long have the twin brother turtles been there?
These turtles have been spitting at each other since 2010.
Sounds like my siblings sometimes.
In mythology, those two brothers were fighters, not necessarily fighting each other. They're in a little bit of a spat right now, but it's going to take a while for them to get to each other.
One of them is very much winning right now.
Right.
I think it's Pollux over there.
I need to make a little adjustment to the fountain, but very observant. That's driving me crazy right now.
Okay. Where are we?
We are inside one of our 2 conservatories at New England Botanic Garden. This is the Orangery, and we have these artful displays of plants, but this area also gets transformed for night lights. In the Orangery, we have all kinds of lights hanging from the ceiling, but we're going to build all kinds of structures like a bromeliad tree, which will be covered in bromeliad plants, but also feature a lot of dazzling lights.
So I would like to know, what is your favorite plant in here?
One that I really enjoy right now is a little bit of a weirdo, and that's a Stapelia, which is a carrion flower. So it's pollinated by flies, and it actually looks and kind of smells like a rotten dead animal. It is beautiful in some ways, but it's a little stinky and weird. And it's what I love about it, though, is that it's a plant that kind of shows a really interesting evolutionary relationship with the animals that pollinate it.
That reminds me a lot of the corpse flower, another famous flower that also attracts flies.
That is a pollination syndrome that's evolved in lots of different plants. And flies are actually a really great pollinator, but you just have to attract them with something that they like. And in this case, it's convincing them that that plant is a dead animal.
And earlier you said that there's a huge amount, or like there's a lot of plants in here. Do you know how many different types of plants are?
Well, we have most of the plants here in containers. There's some pretty marvelous vines here that you should come and check out throughout the season. This is Aristolochia gigantea, and it makes these amazing flowers. This is also called Dutchman's pipe. And these flowers actually contain a little compartment where gnats and flies will go in to pollinate that. So these big, strange-looking flowers will periodically drop off of the vine and surprise people. Once in a while, it'll bop you in the head, and that's good luck. We have about 300 or 400 plants that are in containers. So some of them are rather large, and they require heavy equipment to move them around.
Thank you.
So what else goes on in here?
So in our conservatories, we do lots of different winter exhibitions. And one that people really love is our orchid exhibition. Usually has a theme and a tie-in with a local artist. So this year we're working with Cicely Carew, a Boston-based artist who has these amazing sort of floating paintings. She builds these amazing sculptures. We bring in addition to all these plants here, we bring in about 2,500, over 2,000 orchids that we place in conjunction with our sculptures, and we also kind of weave them throughout the space.
That is really cool.
This is the beginnings of our bromeliad tree. So these are living bromeliads. Structure is built with these little hoops here. So we can take 6-inch pots with live plants in them and fill this entire tree with individual plants. So the bromeliad tree takes hundreds of bromeliads, and we have a lot of different colors that we actually play off of with our lighting design.
So how much time does it take to set this thing up?
Well, the orangery itself, we set up lights in advance when we're moving plants around. But for the main display to go in here, we're working on this for the entirety of this week. The Lemonia we'll shift our focus to and spend a ton of time there. But there's a lot of work that goes into it before we actually set up the lights. We like to reuse and recycle things here. So one of our signature features are bottle flowers, where we basically craft flowers out of recycled bottles. We make hundreds of those, sitting around, cutting bottles, painting them, and making a light feature out of them. That's an example of one of the crafts that we would build in advance. This chandelier here was crafted and assembled over a couple days, and our staff had to prototype a bunch of different designs and make something that really works for the space. These are pretty tight quarters here, so just be careful. There's string lights on either side of the path.
So what exactly are we standing in front of?
So we're standing in front of the train table that was newly assembled today, and we're here in the Ramble. This is the New England Botanic Garden's Children and Family Garden. And in this space, we have a lot of really cool, playful features. This is the site where we do our autumn illuminated autumn exhibition. So we had stranger plants here with a lot of cool lit up plants that were sort of thought up by our exhibitions manager, and they were based on real botany, but they basically represented what if a plant came from Earth and then evolved in space. That space plant scene has all been lifted out of here. They got picked up by a UFO and went elsewhere. But now we're transitioning it into a nightlights area, and the train is a really beloved feature of nightlights. So this train track all gets packed away in storage every year. We're going to have a big mountain in the center of the track that we're adding some finishing touches to now. And we come out here and put our engineer's cap on and keep this train humming for the entire duration of nightlights.
That's so cool.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the storage of these nightlights? I believe our first time here,
Oh, yeah.
we got to see them, but could you tell us a little more about where they're stored?
When we break down this display, we take every single one of the string lights, break them down into individual strings. We have a lot of volunteers that are super helpful because they test to see that the lights are actually all functioning properly. And then we wind them up in a very particular way and store them in bulb crates, the big plastic crates that we get all of our thousands of bulbs that we plant here. And then we organize them by color and by their function.
The nightlights are completely different every single year, so
Yeah.
no 2 years have the same nightlights.
Right. So we try to expand nightlights every year, bring them to new garden areas. This year we have the winter garden online this year, which we didn't have last year. And it's looking more beautiful than ever. And we like to play with different color schemes and some themes. Some of those themes are pretty subtle. You picked up on one as we were coming up here that might be a little less subtle when it's fully developed, but there is a variety of sort of choices that the gardeners make and our horticulturalists that are kind of the same types of choices that they would make when they're designing a garden. We think about which color combinations work when we're planting flowers, how to create a sense of basically immersiveness and have people really feel like they're surrounded by light and color. And so those are all skills that they develop as gardeners, and it's on display when we set up our nightlights.
Thank you. Last question. So with all these lights, do you reuse them every year, like in different ways?
We try to use them in different exhibitions and different programs as well. So earlier in the year, we have things like Swing Night, where we set up lights to make the lawn garden a little more festive in late August, for example. And we'll have bands play and people come out for that. So we have all kinds of lighting and evening programs throughout the year, and people can enjoy different light displays that we put on throughout the garden. That's a wrap. Thanks. Thank you for having me. Those were great questions.
Thank you to Megan and Steve for having us at the New England Botanic Garden, and thank you for watching.
Junior Reporters.